Welcome to the fascinating world of traffic signals. Today I'm out here because we still have an old meter panel with a breaker panel and an old ped button on this pole that we need to remove tonight. As you can see, this is a new one we have already installed, new meter can, breaker panel, and that replaced this old one here. So let's go ahead and start stripping this off of this pole. First things first, let's go ahead and grab our tools so we can start disconnecting that meter can from the pole. So, go ahead, open up my truck. Always a mess in the back seat, but that's all right. Got our tools, let's get out to this meter and we can start tearing this guy apart. Go ahead and work on getting this old pedestrian push button that was not working previously at the center section off of this pole. Just a couple Allen keys here, and then this front plate will come off. And there will be a few screws on this mounting bracket on the back side here. So I'm gonna take these bolts off real quick. As you can see, once the push button's actually pulled off of the pole, this mounting bracket just has two 5/16 bolts ran through it right now. That can vary in sizes depending on what contractor uses what to install these buttons. But all we need to do now is just go ahead and remove these. There we go, buttons off. We can do the same for the sign. And there we go, signs removed as well. So pretty easy. We will get a push penny and cover up this hole and silicone up all the smaller holes here. Now, let's start removing this breaker panel and the meter can here. All right, so as you can see, we have popped the lock off. Let's pull this out. And now we are going to need a screwdriver. So I'm gonna try to do this all one-handed. Already got my flathead on. And let's remove this dead front if it's not seized up in there. Just for the people that have never seen the inside of a meter can before or a breaker panel before, this is kind of what we're looking at right here. It's real basic. This one was set up for one leg of 120. Then you had it jumped off to the neutral here on your other leg. That continues down, hooks up. This is a line side, and you got the load side. Then it drops down to your breaker panel, your line side, which is this top side. This is gonna go up to your power pole and hook up to the transformer up top. Then it drops down to the breaker panel, and as you can see, each leg, they have it jumped off in here. But let's rip the breakers out. These little tabs here are what's actually hot and what will feed power into the breaker, and then the breaker will then feed power through this cable and back to the traffic signal cabinet. And also the luminaire lights out here were fed off of this panel. So one cable, the smaller cable here, is going to go to some luminaire lights, I want to say, and then this guy was running the intersection previously. And rip out these breakers. That one was in pretty loose, so surprised they didn't have issues with that for a while. But we can toss that to the side, not keeping these old breakers. They look pretty rough. And then obviously you come down here, this is where your neutral would land. Your neutral's in your ground, and you would supposedly have two legs, I want to say, actually. Come down, you'd have a leg here and a leg here, supplying 120 to each one of these tabs, then supplying power in, but they just jumped it over to supply power to both sides of this breaker panel. So breakers are already out. Let me start cutting and removing all of this cable, get it stripped back a little bit, then we're going to remove the panel and the meter can itself from the pole. We have the majority of the cables cut out of our way, and as you can see, there's a self-tapper here and one over here, and one on the top of this meter can that's securing this to the pole. So let's go ahead and remove those. Let's get this guy up top. All right, so now the only thing that's securing all of this to the pole, besides this little hose clamp down here, is gonna be this bushing and this lock ring on this fitting here. So we need to go ahead and get our pliers out and get this all removed. Then we can pull this off the pole itself. So let's go ahead, remove the lock ring. I got it loosened up, pull it off. Nipple is probably gonna push back into the pole. but we'll see. It is now off the pole itself. We'll go ahead and just lay it down. Let's get this hose clamp cut right here, and let's dig up a little bit and cut this guy off and try to even come down a little bit lower below grade, and we're going to cut down this unistrut and get this below grade and then cover it back up so it's all disappeared. Another little knip tool that I find pretty useful is this small bolt cutters right here that they sell. And as you can see, for stainless steel hose clamps, got to get a grip on it. And as you can see, for stainless steel hose clamps, it does its work on it. If I can get a good groove in there. There we go. So these are pretty good for stainless steel. You know, the power company likes to lock out and tag out. Take a pair of these and you snip that tag real easy, you know. But doesn't get used often, but it is handy when you need it. All this is ripped out of this pole, no longer needed on this underground side. We're gonna get a shovel, dig out a little bit on this guy and get it below grade and cut it all down. And this pipe's not very deep, it's only a few inches in the ground. So we're just gonna take our saws off and go ahead and cut that through real quick. All right, get spray by some water. Having a hard time cutting through the cable too, but there we go. It's out of there, and now we just need to push the dirt back into this hole and get it closed up real quick. And there we go. The meter and everything is ripped off this pole. That old push button's ripped off the pole. Now we need to just find some push pinies to cover up this hole here and this one here. Other than that, that was one of tonight's tasks, was to come out here and get that meter removed and get that all cleaned up on this pole, which we did. And man, I saw a video earlier, and I can't relate more to this, but somebody said, I think it was Ricky in the Boss, one of his little skits, of him saying, oh, at least we'll work night shift and then it won't be that hot. And then they respond to, oh, now it's just hot without light. And I can't relate more to that. It is what it is. Very hot, even at night, doesn't help, but we're getting stuff done, making stuff happen. All right, guys, we got everything cleaned up around here. I need to go junk and throw away that meter and that breaker panel there. I'll have to come back to plug these holes. That ain't no big issue. But if you enjoyed watching me work a little bit and getting a little bit hot and sweaty, then make sure to hit that like button. And as always, thanks for watching.